Hello Sensuals! There's one subject which is indirectly related to sexuality. This is actually more related to our spirit, our humanity, and the way we're approaching actually a very delicate subject. And I want to actually tackle this one today. So the subject itself is the difference between willing and wishing. Now, many times when we find ourselves saying, "Oh, I wished for that to happen so badly," that is actually not wishing, that is willing. And I think there's a very subtle difference between the two, and many people are actually not aware of it. And I myself found out relatively recently the difference between willing and wishing. So here it is. Wishing, first and foremost, or desiring, if we want to put it in a much more beautiful way, is a very superior force that we all have that, in essence, it guides us to our evolution. It guides us to become better at anything that we set ourselves up to, or it guides us to develop, it guides us to grow, it guides us to fulfill beautiful things in our lives. And in Oriental cultures, they actually say that desire in its true and pure form contains a universal principle. And the most important one is that it seeks the best for more people, so not just one person. It is not just about yourself. So when you actually find yourself wanting for something to happen, which is actually best for everybody else in the equation, that is true desire. So you're thinking of a lot more people than just yourself. And the thing about desire or wishing is that it is very relaxed. So it doesn't put pressure on anyone, and it allows the universe or life or society at large, it allows the time and the space to bring about whatever it is that you wish for or that you desire. So it may take a year, 2 years, sometimes 10 years, or as much time as possible for everything in your life to make that happen. It can be a performance that you want in athletics, for instance, or it can be a development that you want in your own business, or it can be a certain kind of partner. So it doesn't just happen when you set the deadline for it. It happens whenever all conditions are right. And this is what desire is all about. So it's relaxed and it leaves your universe the time and the space to provide you with whatever it is that you wish for or whatever it is that you desire. Willing, on the other hand, is actually, this is much more humane, and it is in essence related to the way our society is built. So it is also the power of the thought in other, let's say, approaches. It can be associated with your power of thinking. And willing actually has the preciseness of setting deadlines, setting out very clear objectives, identifying resources and quantities of resources needed, and alternative solutions in case the things that you want or that you will are not happening. And in essence, it is very structured. It is very easily to measure and to set out a deadline for when you will consider that whatever you wanted for happened or did not happen. So it is very much, it's related to your ego, and it is in essence how companies are built. Society is built around that. We set out deadlines. We measure resources that need to be invested within a certain time frame so that you get your wanted result. I said wanted, not desired. So it's very precise. You obviously need this to survive in society. The problem with it is that when you concentrate too much on your power of thought or on your power of will, then you also become very stressed out. So this is the main risk with wanting or the power of thought, is that because you have this very clear deadline, and you have a lot of factors that you need to take into consideration, and you also need to control them in order to get your wanted result, then you obviously have a lot of pressure on yourself, again, a lot of stress. Now, the difference between these two when it comes to your erotic partners or your sexual partners is this. When you say, I wish for a partner that is attentive or caring, and I wish him to come into my life, you're obviously considering that you are also the best option for him and that he's the best option for you. So everybody is getting the best possible result and interaction. When you're saying, oh, I want the kind of partner who pays attention, who cleans up dishes and so on, you're not necessarily thinking about him as well. You're just thinking about yourself and what it is that you want. So you're very selfish, and you are not taking into consideration that maybe what you want is not the best thing for your partner. He may not want or need or wish for that. So it is very egocentric, whereas this is wanting. Whereas wishing or desiring is, to a certain degree, selfless. So it includes a lot more people. So this is the very subtle nuance. The thing about these two terms is that we need both. So we need wishing or desiring as much as we also need willing or wanting. So as a human being, you have to actually counterbalance these two forces within yourself. And neither of them could exist without the other. So you could not just have desiring or wishing. You could not give form or shape, and you could not function in society just by saying, may the best outcome happen for everybody included. You would also have to become more precise, and you would have to function in certain resources, timeframes, and so on. But you would have them in balance. If you take desire or wishing out of the equation, then you become this tyrant and this very despotic person who is just thinking of, I want this, by the end of the week, you get it done, whatever it requires, or I'll get it done, I'll do it as whatever it takes, even if I die doing this. And you're losing your humanity, you're losing your soft side, you're losing your emotions, you're losing the soul in this whole thing. So you could not have just wanting or the power of your thought also. So desire and thought, or wishing and willing, have to work in balance, in tandem. And in a relationship, obviously, you would have to have the two in the equation. Otherwise, you would either be too fluid and too volatile for your partner, or you would be too strict, too stressful, you would put too much pressure on your relationship. So you would have to juggle these two. Again, desire is concentrating on both or more people at large, and it gives the universe and life the space and the time to produce the best possible outcome. Whereas wanting or willing or the power of thought is much more concise, it's much more narrow, and it also puts a certain degree of pressure in the whole interaction. You need both of them, but you need to make clear which one it is that you're acting on. So when you say, oh, I wanted that person so much, actually, when you say wanted, you're being very honest. But when you say, I wished for that person to be my partner, I wished it so badly, that is not wishing, because you're too stressed, you're too concentrated on just one person without having the certainty that this person is best for you. When you're giving everything space and time, you're desiring for real. And it's a beautiful place to be in, actually. So this is it on the difference between wishing and willing. And if it's not clear to you, then watch this video again and again until you become more familiar with the two terms and you feel the difference. It's a very subtle difference, but when you start realizing these things and when you start watching yourself in true human interactions, it may become even more easy to spot and actually beautiful to know the difference. And you will probably be more spontaneous. It's an art to know when to act out of true desire and when to act out of true will. So there you go. I hope that you have a beautiful week, and I'll be seeing you again soon.